Welcome back to another episode of a Reusable Space Program. It is episode 29. You find us bringing back the remnants of the carrier craft, the Zephyrus second stage that took our Gemini mining rig up last time, and we're just going to bring it back. And you see here, I'm quite happy about this. We got quite close to the KSP, not brilliant, but close enough so we can recover it and get a lot of funds. So in this episode, we're going to be reusable. We're also going to be the rescue program of some sort. That can't be right. We can't be rescuing all these Kerbals, surely. Where have they all come from? Right, we better get on with it, I think. Let's get going. Right, so we actually have, first of all, before we start rescuing Kerbals, we're going to send off our fuel truck, our new fuel truck 2, to the Moon. Obviously, we don't need to talk about what happened to fuel truck 1. It was a trial craft. It had flaws, and we're just improving it. That's the reason we're sending another one. It's the ladders. The ladders on the front of this one just are really important. So that's why we're sending this one. The only reason. Nothing else happened. Don't need to talk about anything. So anyway, we're just gonna, fire our engines, burn our way towards the Moon, and when that's done, we're just gonna let it sort of stay en route, and we're gonna get on with some other stuff. But you can see we're just gonna use our RCS, use our engines just to bring that down. And I was really looking for a direct interaction, but we just couldn't get it. So next, we have the launch of a newish craft. This is Vanguard R. We've taken our Vanguard and we've modified it, but we took bits from actually. From the Zephyrus and the Vanguard and sort of stuck them together to make this. So it's a bit of a wobble. And this is the Vanguard R. It's a single stage 2 orbit, hence the Vanguard name, although I'm not surely sure if we could call it that. Anyway, and this is going to be rescuing Kerbals in orbit, because we've got a lot of Kerbals just floating around the planet and floating around the bodies in the place. So we're going to send this up, and you can see it's got itself a grabbing arm, it's got parachutes inside. It's a single stage up thing, so we can actually not just rescue, Kerbal Rescue Program, that's what we are, Kerbal Reusable Rescue Program, that's our new name obviously. So we can just rescue Kerbals. We can rescue their craft as well, because we need the parts. We actually need as much technology as we can at the moment, because we've got to balance the books, and we don't want to admit that we may have lost some parts somewhere on a moon or some sort of thing. You misplace things, misplace them. Anyway, if nothing else, it'll help improve media coverage of the Moon situation. So we're just going to do a rendezvous with a random capsule that is flipping around in orbit, and we're going to try and rescue Frobro Kerbin. And no doubt we're going to try and put him in some sort of indentured servitude after rescue, because of course he will owe us a vast fortune in money for the cost of launching a rocket, as we're the only space program on the planet anymore, which is still amazes me how he got here if there are no other space programs. But anyway, I suppose there's no other successful space programs, and this is an unsuccessful space program. Anyway, so we're going to activate our little grabber, and we're using our grabber because he obviously doesn't have a docking port, and we want to bring his entire craft down. So we're going to just line ourselves up and do the old-fashioned approach, dock, grab, nudge until it gets onto our little docking port. And this is something we're getting quite good at actually now, the approach, grab, sort of jiggle juggle, attach, go home sort of approach. So we're just going to move it down. This looks like an onion capsule or something. So this is a couple of tons of capsule, which should be fine. We'll just grab that. Yes, thank you. Just get in there, please. Close the doors quickly. Close the doors quickly. And no, it's not. See, this is the point where I need to just nudge it. Just nudge it. There we go. Right, close the doors. Should probably close the doors first in case it went off at a random angle. But there we go. Frobro is in the command sort of seat there. He's not doing anything. He's completely. He refuses to do anything for us. He will learn. He will definitely learn. Sean will have a word with him, I'm sure. Anyway. So we're just going to return through the atmosphere right now. We'll put our solar panels away. You'll notice the solar panels I have put lower down on the craft this time. I don't know if I like that or not. So we're just coming over the desert there, and the aim here is to bring it down reasonably near to the KSP. The closer we get, the more money we get back, and this is a single stage orbit. So basically what we're doing is we're trying to only have to pay for fuel because, money. So there we go. We fire the engines as much as we can to slow us down. We've got parachutes ready to pop just as soon as we can get down, and there we go, parachutes pop. Wonderful. And I think we're going to come down just off the outskirts of the KSC. Isn't that lovely? I mean, it would have been nicer to come down actually on the launch pad, but I'm not going to mess around too much with it. This is the first return of this craft, and you know what? I'm actually still concerned it might not land properly. So we pop it down, and yeah, the slow final point of landing. I mean, we could repulsive landings might be a bit quicker, but then you know a bit more dangerous. We'll see. We might do a repulsive landing in the future. So down we go, all done, nice and secure. And off we go into our next one. So there are other Kerbals around Kerbin, so we could send a Vanguard R up. The only problem is that the next one we're going to target is quite far out, and also we've got some around the Mun and some around Minmus, and the Vanguard R, while it is good for collecting them from orbit, which it will be doing, we're going to take that craft and keep reusing it up and down, we need to get them into near Kerbin orbit first. So we're going to send up a Zephyrus again, and inside the Zephyrus is going to be our sort of longer range craft. This thing is going to basically be what is going to gather the craft, the crew from all over the place, and bring it back to Kerbin so that we can salvage it and use it for profit. So here we go. We're just going to open up there. We're going to land back the first stage. This is actually while it lands in the ocean, you know, just along from the KSC, it's not too far away. We don't get 100% back on it, and so we need to have a little think about this. I've looked at this, and it's not really the craft that I really want long term. But anyway, so here we are. We're going to take this, and this is the Gemini 1R, so R for rescue. Yes, it's rescue because it's got a big sticky hand on the top of it, and it's the Gemini 1 formation. And there we go, we're just going to return its carrier craft back to the KSC, and again we're trying to get these nice and near KSC. I don't really care about if we land it on the KSC. I know it's quite snazzy to do that, but I'm also terrified of hitting one of the buildings, because that would be even worse than destroying a tanker on the Mun, if that was to happen. Obviously it never happens. So anyway, we're gonna drop this back down. And these little cargo pods here are actually really easy. You don't even need to fire the engines. You don't have to. And you see it wobbles a bit, but actually it will balance. It looks a bit wonky, a bit of Tower of Pisa, but yeah. Well, while that's been going on, our tanker has arrived, or our fuel truck has arrived at the Mun. So it's about time we actually try to get a rendezvous with this thing. So we're just going to do this. But in reality, it doesn't really need to do a rendezvous. We could rendezvous it with the station, but do we need to? Do we need to? Maybe not. The fuel at this point, I'm looking at the Delta V and going, ooh, there's potentially enough to do a landing, and then I'm like, well, it's safe than sorry. The problem is the little meter is actually thrown off by the big tanks attached to the underside of our carrier now, and I could probably take this and just land it, but what we do is we actually align its plane anyway. We put its forks and whatnot down, and we'll just come in, and you can see there we've actually got a very close rendezvous to the station. So, well, we might just bring it to the station. Yeah, we could. When Rick could have a visit with the station, he could see the team. He might enjoy that. Might enjoy it. If nothing else, we'll do our little capture burn near the station, just so we can make a decision. You know, that's probably a good idea. Yeah, we'll just do that. We'll just near the station, just have a look. Do you wanna look out the window, Wenrick? Have a look out the window. See what you can see. Yeah, it's gonna go past any minute, any second now, any moment. Just look out over the left. The left's you seem to just be staring ahead. Look out the left, please. That's. Yes, your left. That's fine. Yes. Yeah. Can you see it? No. Oh, yeah. You can see it. Look, isn't it? No. You. Oh, just. Yeah. I give up. Right. Wenrick, you know what? Let's just land it. You know what? I don't think you should associate with the other Kerbals. You got stuck in orbit. I mean, I'm not impressed still. So we're just gonna, I don't want you mixing with, also, I'm gonna be honest with you, Moon Station 1 is a little wobbly, and I'm a little concerned that putting these two craft on the end of that would cause a problem. So what we'll actually do is we're gonna just bring you down. So we're gonna just do a normal approach. We've done our deorbit burn, and we're now just gonna refine that into the middle of the crater, bring it down. We're going over the flight path of other stuff that's obviously still going around there. Here we go. There's actually something low down. I'm not entirely sure what that is that's low down. Or maybe it's a satellite or some sort of probe we've sent up in the past. I don't know. So anyway, we're going to come down, do this, and we're not too worried about the distance that you're going to have to travel because you've got a tanker with some electric power and some solar panels. You actually have solar panels. We can actually drive wherever you want. I could put it down the other side of the crater and you go there. Look at you, loving it. Look at how excited she is. She is loving this experience. None of that staring randomly out of windows anymore. She is loving this experience. She has absolutely no control over what's going wrong. I think she's probably hysterical right now, actually, looking at it. Look, she can't, you know what, if we were going to crash, I'm pretty sure she'd do the same thing. So we'll have to see what's going on there. Yeah, I think she might be a bit crazy. Yeah, she's now laughing incoherently. That's not a great experience, I'm sure. And down we go. Touch with the not the best of landings. Wenrick seems completely happy with it though, which is odd. I think it's probably best if she stays on the Mun. Probably be fine on her own. I'm sure she's completely mentally stable, and spending all her time on the Mun alone is completely fine. So anyway, we put our Cargo 3 back up into orbit, and we're going to prepare that for a docking with the station at some point. You can see we've done quite a high orbital loop there, and we're going to try and get as close to it as possible into a docking, but that's not going to happen because of the timing of the whole thing. I should have actually left it sat on the surface for a little while, and then we could have actually aligned some planes. Well, not so much aligned planes, but aligned the timings for this, and we could have done a direct rendezvous. As it is, it's going to circularize, and then we're going to have to do a little bit of fiddling around to get it to do our rendezvous. Probably in a few hours, I would imagine. It's going to take us a little bit of time just to get that up there. So we're in orbit now, nice and safe. And while that's happening, well, we're just gonna, when Rick's taking a trip to the Mun base, it's a long journey, obviously. The funny thing is that actually there is no sun right now. Oh no, do we call it sun? Because we call ours Earth's star the sun. So this is Kerbal. So there's no Kerbal at the moment. No Kerbal shine, Kerb shine. No Kerb shine, no Kerbal shine, no Kerbin shine, Kerbal shine will do. There's no Kerbal shine hitting our solar panels. And so, the irony is that this is about as effective as the one that's modified. The one that's modified. And there you can see we've now got a little train there. You know what? We could actually stick this tanker on the other end of this and just have a train on the surface. That's not a bad idea for a future mission, actually. Anyway. After a couple of hours, it is time for our Cargo 3 to get back up and dock up to the station because it needs some fuel. You can see it's running on fumes a little bit there. It does actually have quite a lot of Delta V left in the tank, but in reality, it's not going to do anything with it. It's purely for transporting itself around now. It's got, it could end up having to use RCS if we're not careful. So we're just going to bring it in. And this is a reasonably easy thing. You can actually see on the alarm clock we have no alarms right now. So this task is it's an odd one. We normally have multiple things lined up. We've had episodes where we've had 4 or 5 things one after the other all intermeshing, and this is the first time for a while we've had no real alarms waiting. No real it's quite a lull in the space program's sort of program at the moment. Partly because, well, we had a bad incident on the moon, and since then I'm a little bit wary about how much we stretch ourselves. Our funds are not as unlimited as I would like, and we're still living on certain funds, but we're going to get more with these rescue missions. So here we are. This is back to the Gemini 1R, and we're gonna rescue Kerbals. We're gonna rescue a Kerbal called Mersha, Marsha, Marsha, and she's actually in a very similar orbit to the Mun, but not at the Mun. So this is actually worse than if we were going to the Mun to rescue a Kerbal. This, I think, is probably the most annoying, most Delta V sort of using rendezvous annoyance of rendezvous we could possibly have. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to fire out towards her, and then we're actually going to have to circularize at her. So we're actually going to have to do a circularization high up. It's actually one of the biggest sort of things. You can see there, we're actually going to have to circularize. If we were going to the Mun right now, we'd do a tiny circularization around the Mun. We'd take almost no Delta V compared to this, but we're actually going to have to put an awful lot out. So you can see here, we're just sort of trying to bring our rendezvous points in to something similar, but it's really actually quite annoying. We've got the timing off just a little bit by literally a couple of seconds, and we're out. So you can see we're getting closer and closer approaches there. And then it's just a case of playing around with it. And this is one of the, you know what, I wish I hadn't accepted this mission, because it is a Kerbal that has obviously tried to go to the moon and then somehow has fired their engines sideways instead of slowing down. I don't know what they've done. I really don't know what she's done to end up there. Interestingly, also on an inclination, which isn't a big problem actually, because it's so far out, the inclination change is not a massive one, but even so, it does mean that we're going to end up in a bit of an odd inclination for our craft when we actually come back down. So that's another annoyance for us. So here we go. We're coming into our rendezvous point, and we're going to take a lot of delta V. You can see there's hundreds of meters per second that we're actually going to have to do, which is not an instantaneous sort of quick thing. This is not the same sort of burn that we've done in the past. We're firing away these engines for quite a long time, and then we've still got to do the rendezvous. The only positive is that we're actually circularizing. The only positive is that the rendezvous should be under quite slow speeds, but it's all again relative. And do I enjoy this? Not at all. This was one of the, it's not the hardest docking or rendezvous, but it was just annoying because of its distance out. So now it's like, right, okay, if I want to make a change, what's the change I make? If you want to practice docking, do not do this. Do not put something like at the same distance as the moon and try and dock with it. Put it reasonably close to Kerbin. Not too close. The closer you are, you get sort of the turn of the craft as you go around. But you know, you can do the normal, anti-normal docking, and it's dead easy. So if you're learning to dock, I do have a tutorial. Please check it. I will be redoing it because I've got some suggestions on improvements, and I'm going to redo it. I think probably when 1.12 comes out. But anyway, automated craft, great signal because we've got our wonderful communication system, obviously. And we're just going to come in, and it is a single person pod that we're going to collect, and we pull it in. And the good thing is we're not docking, we're just going to hit, and there we go, first time. I was concerned that actually, particularly with pods, when we don't have something to wrap around them, if I don't hit it right, it potentially could just float off and I have to chase it, so I was worried about that, but we got it first time, and now it's a case of fly all the way back to Kerbin. So this craft, I think when we put it up, had 7,000, 6,000 delta V available, and we're using a big chunk of that. We've used a big chunk of fuel just to get this one and bring it back. Luckily, because of the role of this craft, it's never going to have to carry heavy loads. It's going to just carry a couple of tons. Well, a couple of tons is relatively heavy, but it doesn't have to carry itself. It's not like the cargo craft that are taking things to and from the moon and to Kerbin and so forth. This thing is just carrying small fry, just tiny little things. So those nuclear engines, with their efficiency, they're going to give us a good fuel usage, and also we can always dock this thing with the with Dawn Station and fuel it up reasonably easily, because Dawn has a lot of fuel tankage, you know, to be given out right now. In fact, we probably need to actually think about more tanks for Dawn Station for the long run, so we can actually start launching things from Kerbin to interplanetary space. But I think I said this in the last episode, I may save stuff like that for the future. But anyway, with this episode is rolling on, so as we break into our orbital close orbit of Kerbin, next time we'll bring up a Vanguard R and take that capsule away. But until then, have a great one.